I'd like to introduce our first speaker in this session, who is Alden Wongso. He's a third-year undergraduate student studying software engineering towards a Bachelor of Computing degree. That degree is offered in the Faculty of Science and Engineering, and his supervisor for this project is Abidin, with support from the HIVE team member Doshi. And the project title is there a typical influencer face? So,
hello everyone, and thank you for attending my presentation, and thanks Andrew for your introduction. So today I will talk about my project, Is There a Typical Influencer Face? And I also want to thank my supervisors, Crystal and Ash, for helping me along this journey. So let me provide a little bit of background for this project. So influencers are really important people on social media, and influencers don't just share content, they also share and encourage specific ideals about appearance and beauty. So for example, these three faces. So for example, that's an ideal face for popular influencers on these social media apps like Instagram, and that's another social media app called Africa TV, and this is Bigo. So I do want to tell that those three faces are not actual real human faces. They are the average faces created by combining the top 50 influencers ranked by popularity. So yeah, those are not actual human faces. It's the average of the humans. And if there are people in the audience who are on the older side who doesn't know what are influencers, think of influencers as basically like a Hollywood celebrity. So this matters because many young people today actually want to become an influencer. A lot of studies shows that a lot of kids across Gen Alpha and Gen Z actually want to become a YouTuber or content creator. So for example, these two kids. And also because influencer culture differ across platforms and regions. For example, in Instagram, they often emphasizes lifestyle and selfie-based images. Another example is in China, where this phenomenon is often recognized through the term Wang Hong Lian, which is described basically a beautiful internet celebrity face that's shaped by the platform and commercial expectations. So influencer cultures don't just affect influencers themselves, but it also shapes how everyday users imagine success and attractiveness online. However, despite the differences, something really interesting is happening because across many different platforms, the most successful influencers are starting to look very similar. As you guys can see, this middle face and this right face, they almost look identical. And that raises the key question behind this project. Are we choosing how we look, or are the platform dictating how we should look? So first of all, I want to ask, why should we study influencers, or why should influencers matter? It matters because influencers can impact a lot of different aspects of our lives. So for example, in industry, platform, and cultures. In industry, because influencers shape cultures beyond advertising, they can also shape beauty standards, lifestyle, and culture, and more. And the platforms, because social media impacts our attention, visibility, and norms. And on the culture, because beauty standards are dependent on the gender, race, and cultural preferences. On the second half, why we should care is because influencers use the selfies to shape their beauty ideals. I'm pretty sure most people in the audience have taken at least a photo or a selfie once in their lives. And because selfies are tools of self-expression and self-measurement. So using influencer selfies can actually help us to reflect on our own appearance and perceptions of beauty. So for this HIVE project, this HIVE internship will explore selfie filters created from real influencer data, which I will explain later in the presentation. And the project basically shows how ordinary faces like us can be changed to match the top influencer faces. It also showcases how beauty standards across different cultures and platforms. And a question is, how do these filters change our perception of ourselves? So now I will showcase a video on the inspiration behind this project. So it's called The Giant. So this is actually a robot face. So Gentle Monster, which is basically which is a Korean eyewear brand, is made this traveling art installation at Sydney Airport called the Giant. So this is a giant face. So this robot face is actually bigger than the entire body. So it is approximately 2 meters tall. So that's what I just said. This is called the Giant. So we actually want to simulate this screen version of this on the HIVE's dome, as the people can see to the left. That's actually what we're supposed to do. However, due to some development constraints, we decided to just switch to using the tile display, which almost function the same way. So, and I want to invite the audience on a little bit of journey. So I want the audience to just close your eyes and then try to picture the faces of the top 10 influencers you know. What do they look like? Do they share any resemblance at all? And how would you look like if you were one of the influencers that you're thinking of? You can open your eyes right now. So it invites to reflect on the distance or differences between their actual faces and their filtered faces. So is there so the question is there a diversity in industry, or as the title suggests, is there a typical influencer face? So here's the methodology workflow. So this is basically the process of what I had to do to develop the result of the project for this 10-week internship. So firstly is the data collection, so which is collected from a previous intern, where she took the average of approximately 50 top influencer faces ranked by their popularity to produce a single face. So what we're looking here is actually not a real person, like I said. It's just the average that's been taken across platforms such as YouTube and Instagram. So there are 9 social media apps and 3 types of genres for each platform. So there are 9 times 3 is 27. So approximately 1,300 real faces were captured to generate these 27 average faces. So the next is the platform setup. So we decided to make a website version of this project. So for us to do that, we're going to use these apps. For the first is Python. It's basically a programming language that is used for data science, recognition, and much more, and which is basically used for our server for this project. And for the website, we decided to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to develop the functionality of the website. Oops. So the next, to capture our face and make it into a 3D. So this is actually my face turned into a 3D. So when you capture your face, it's going to, I know it's funny, it's going to make our face into a 3D object. So the computer is going to take the landmarks of my captured face, and it's going to make it into a 3D object. So I said landmarks. So basically a landmark is a specific point on a face, such as the corner of your eyes, that the computer can recognize to understand the shape and position of a face. So these points act like a structure or a map to the face. So next is to merge ourselves with the influencer. So this is me, and then we're going to merge ourselves with the influencer. So we're going to match our landmarks together, and it's going to produce a 2D image of me. So this is actually me as an influencer. So this is actually me as an influencer, and yeah, I know it's really pretty. And then after that, we're going to map the 2D face, and it's going to make a 3D version of myself. So here's actually me as an influencer. I know. So this is actually the result. So this is the interface. So this is the website of the result of the website. So we start the camera first, and then make sure to fit your face inside that oval, and then press the capture button. And then we're gonna wait a few seconds. We can close the stop button if it's necessary to stop the face capture. And it's going to load for a few seconds to generate my 3D face. So for example, this is my face as a 3D object. So it's really big. So the next part is how to merge ourselves with the influencer face. So so we have to click that green button over there, and then it's going to go make us to another website, and then that's my face cropped, And on the left side, there's a lot of different options of social media we can choose from. So for this part, we're just going to pick a social media app called a free cat, and it's going to, the genre is gameplay. And then when we merge our face, so that's actually my face as a 2D object. So after that, you can press that button of export 3D to make my face into a 3D object. So for example, this is me as an influencer on a 3D face. Oops. So on the reflection, there are some technical sides. So I learned how fragile the face capture can be, because small things like landmark matching, for example, the nose of one of the influencers here has an extra nostrils, which unfortunately is one of the weaknesses. And for another one is the lighting conditions. For example, if the light is too bright or too dark, it's going to match my face with the lighting. So for example, this is my face. If the light is too bright, it's going to make my face a bit yellow. And glassware, I don't recommend to use glasses for this app because it can disrupt the merging of the influencer face. And then the distance to the camera, unfortunately, it can accommodate around 100 centimeters. So we have to get really close to the camera. So if it goes too far, it's not going to capture your face. And on the conceptual side, my understanding changed so much, because before this project, I thought of influencer face as mainly like a visual style or a trend or a filter. But after building this, I began seeing it as something more on the technical side, because as something as shaped by the platforms and the systems. And building the system also changed how I think about selfies and faces. So I talk about landmarks. So this is one example of a landmark, and this is actually one of the development of trial and errors of my face. So this is the disrupted face, glitch faces that I've been working on development. So that's the trial and errors of the project, of the development process. Because yeah, as a software engineering student, this was challenging, but it helped me see how technical decisions can also shape how people are seen, judge, and feel about themselves. So when you see your face transform, it can feel a little bit uncanny or strange or unsettling. The reaction is often emotional. So the face looks familiar, but it's not really you, because it's still your face, but it's not real. It's an influencer face of yourself. It is intentional so that for the audience to experience emotional reflection on how or why their face feels familiar or desirable. So it becomes for the users to become more aware of how beauty standards shape faces online, and whether it is achievable to have that influencer face or not. And here are just some future work. For example, the landmark, as I said, the nose needs to be aligned to give the face the best influencer face. So for example, the nose needs to be aligned just a bit more, and some lighting conditions also can disrupt the merging of the face. The second thing is add morphing. So we didn't have time to put this into our application, but this is a prototype that I've been working on. So this is add a morphing from your own face to an influencer face. So it's going to merge my face from my face, and it's going to change into that influencer face. And the last is basically make the interface more user-friendly and have a better design. So for the takeaway message, I want people to understand how influencers shape beauty standards, because they help define what is seen and what is seen as ideal or normal online. And I want also there are some roles of influencers in society, because they shape how people understand success, visibility, and their self-imaging. And to invite us to think how to perceive ourselves by looking at the version of the giant, which is the version of the giant face of yourself. So, and during the demonstration, feel free to try my project. I invite the audience to experience how they might look like as an influencer.